Hi everybody, Jennifer Blevin-Smith with Integral Clinic Solutions, and you're watching my YouTube channel, Navigating the Business of Medicine. Today I want to talk about minors' rights in healthcare. Depending on your specialty, you might see a lot of pediatric patients or you might not see any. But regardless, this is important to know in case maybe you do come across that pediatric patient or you do open up your services to pediatric patients. The first thing that you should know is that generally across the United States, children are considered minors until they turn 18. That is the federal law, and that is recognized in many aspects of life, not just in healthcare. The one caveat to this is each state can also set what they believe is considered a minor making adult decisions, if you will, when it comes to healthcare. And it's not all healthcare, that's certain treatments or certain avenues of healthcare. So some states, like I know California, for mental health services, substance abuse, birth control type things, a minor can consent at the age of 12 or over in order to have those treatments or have those discussions, appointments with providers. It's really important that you check with your local state guidelines and your state laws on exactly how old a child has to be or can be, I guess you would say, in order to receive certain treatments from you. And again, it might have to do with what kind of treatments they are seeking out. It might be very tight, narrow lanes that you would have to stay in order to honor the child's confidentiality and be able to treat them with their own consent. Then there's other things that you're going to need the parents' consent, and that will be in state law as well, or legal guardian. Things get a little bit confusing because of all of the different family dynamics out there. You have families where the parents were never married. You have some where they are married and divorced, so that you have step parents involved. You can have maybe where the grandparents are legal guardians of the children, or aunts and uncles instead of the actual biological parents. You could have adoptive parents that are actually able to make these decisions. And so you just have to be really careful and aware that when you're seeing a pediatric patient, that you understand, one, what they're coming in for, two, what the intentions are, and three, who is the parent or legal guardian that can give consent for the services that do require a parent or guardian. If they are a ward of the state or they are in a foster care system, oftentimes there's paperwork that the foster parent has that you should ask for and keep on file, and it will direct you on whom to contact if decisions need to be made for certain treatments. So I know in Oregon and Washington, the paperwork will have contact information for kind of their caseworker. So the caseworker, you call, you discuss whatever needs to be done, and then they have to take it to a judge in order for them to okay it. So it's not something that the foster parent can make that decision, and most foster parents know that, but just be aware of that and put it on your radar in case maybe they're new to foster parenting or they're trying to get around it for some reason. But it's definitely ultimately your responsibility to understand all of the laws regarding minors and treating minors. The thing about minors being able to authorize and give consent for certain services, such as birth control, any kind of STD testing, mental health like counseling, substance abuse, is you have to discuss the payment arrangements, right? Just because they're giving consent doesn't mean maybe that they can afford to pay out of pocket, and they might want to use their insurance. And if their insurance is through their parent's employer or something like that, and not through like a state Medicaid, then that means that most likely the parent is going to end up finding out about it. They might not end up knowing all the ins and outs and the details about it, in which you wouldn't be able to share in most circumstances, and also, again, depending on the state in which you operate and see patients. But they are ultimately going to find out that they were seen somewhere because they're going to see the EOB, they're going to get a bill. And so it's really important to have those conversations with these patients beforehand and just let them know how it works, because a lot of them don't understand. They think that if they can consent and you don't have to talk to their parents or receive consent from their parents, that it should all be okay and they can keep it from their parents. But they don't think about how the payment comes in and billing insurance and all the bills and things like that. So that is also going to be your and your staff's responsibility to make sure you have that conversation with the patient up front as well. Again, check out your state's local regulations and rules when it comes to treating minors and consents. Make sure that you consult with a healthcare law attorney about all of this if you do see a lot of pediatric patients. Unfortunately, I do see a trend going in the way that more kids are trying to see medical professionals without their parents knowing or being involved, and there are parts of society that support that more than probably I would, but at the same time, you have to follow what the state puts in as the rules and laws. So make sure you check that out so that you're not violating anybody's rights when it comes to treatment and consents. If you have any questions or comments about this, please leave that in the comments below. If you have experience working in these situations, that can be pretty difficult, I can imagine, and there are some gray areas. If you can give any kind of advice in the comments, I would encourage you to do that for your colleagues. Smash the thumbs up button if today's video was helpful. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thanks so much, you guys. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.